It's Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, investment consultant, Mr. Money Talk. And we actually have some major breaking NBA news to start here as we press record. The Lakers were like really deep with JJ Redick. JJ Redick was assembling a staff, and it was like really far down the road for him to become the next Lakers coach. And out of nowhere, Patrick, Dan Hurley, back-to-back national champion at UConn, Woj came on ESPN this morning and said the Lakers are moving ahead aggressively with Dan Hurley as their main target. They're prepared to offer a lot of money. And Dan Hurley's buyout to go to the NBA from UConn is only like $1.5 million, so it's easy to get out. So it looks like, as of right now, Dan Hurley is going to make the jump from UConn to the Lakers, Pat.
Well, I can't blame him because there's more stability in pro basketball than there is in college right now. Maybe he found out that winning 2 straight national titles with 2 different teams because of the transfer portal. Maybe he wasn't doing that well in the portal and called up the Lakers and said, "Hey, how about hiring me?
I can take the Lakers job and have guys under contract for 4 years. That'd be great."
Yes, I could have. Okay. Instead of having him leave, when I yell at him during a timeout, he might be gone. And if I do that Tuesday, he might be gone on Wednesday. Well, that's something. How old's Hurley? Mid-50s?
He is 51.
51. Well, he comes from quite the family of crazy basketball people. I wonder how LeBron, you get LeBron to sign off on that, though.
So here's the thing. So a couple things on that. Number one, Hurley, when he coached at St. Benedict's Prep in New Jersey, actually coached against LeBron's high school team. And so they kind of know each other going back to those days. But JJ Redick, ironically, so he has a YouTube channel and a podcast, and he brings on, and LeBron is part of it, so he's got LeBron. But he did like an hour-long interview with Dan Hurley last month, and they were breaking down some X's and O's. And JJ was sort of fawning over Dan Hurley will watch football film and apply football principles to his basketball plays. LeBron James commented on the video to JJ Redick and said, "I love Dan Hurley. He's amazing. He's really? Brilliant."
Wow, man alive. Well, the dad was a legendary high school coach out there in New Jersey. And then Bobby, of course, is one of the biggest jackasses on a coaching sideline anywhere. I've had referees work with him that I guess he's mellowed out a little bit, but he was terrible at the start. And he's done okay, but not great in the colleges. But wow, this is quite the shocker. Is Pelinka still running that?
Yeah.
Is he still running that team?
It's Jeannie and then Rob Pelinka are heading this. Yeah.
Well, that is breaking news. And the national guys who break all this stuff down and tell us these are the final 6 and yell at each other on panel shows and stuff. They got another curveball thrown at them. They missed on this one. Nobody heard.
Bad day for Shams.
Yeah, it is.
It's a tough day for Shams.
He got smoked on this one. Yeah.
Okay. Well, but then again, it's not 100% though, right? It's
no, the ink is not put on paper yet. But I feel like when Woj mobilizes like this and they put him on all the ESPN shows and he is saying the Lakers are mobilizing to make Dan Hurley a Godfather offer that and they brought like Brian Windhorst came on and a couple others to fill in some of the other contexts that Dan Hurley has always had an eye on the NBA. And to what you were saying, college basketball is essentially pro basketball, but less organized now.
Yes, right.
So if someone's gonna pay you $10 or $15 million a year, you might as well go to the NBA and have some better structure.
Get a 5-6 year contract, and if you stink after 2 years, you get fired, and they pay off. That's
Kentucky will hire you in 3 years.
That's right. That's great. That's really interesting news. It's going to be interesting to get to know him a little better, as far as what kind of a fiery personality he is, because you've seen moments on the sideline when he explodes, but in Hurley fashion. But I got a hunch that he did a lot of screaming and hollering in practice, though, so he'll have to change that. But he's probably a smart enough guy to do that. I mean, it is amazing. Not only did they win 2 straight national titles, they won 2 straight national titles easy. with different teams. They kicked the hell out of everybody 2 years in a row. It's
I think it was
incredible.
12 double-digit victories in the
Yeah.
2 title runs.
It's unbelievable. And last year, this year they went in, they were number 1 seed, but last year they were they didn't sneak in, but they were what did they have to win the Big East to get in last year or something like that? The tournaments or something?
2 years ago they did, right?
Yeah, that's not last year, 2 years ago. Yeah. That's yeah, I mean, and then they just rolled over everybody. It was incredible. And turn around, lose all but one guy, I think, and they turn around and blow them out again. It's amazing. So,
Mike Nori, I think, didn't he interview for the Lakers job too?
yeah,
In the Cavs job.
I think that I don't know what's open right now though. Is there any?
Cavs.
Just the Cavs and them?
I think just the Cavs and
Okay.
yeah,
Lakers.
the Lakers.
Mm-hmm. They will blow you out in the NBA though, won't they? They just fired some of these guys that you'd have no idea that they were even in trouble, and boom, they're gone.
Well,
so
yeah,
Beeline got blown out really quick, right? Didn't he
Mhm.
go from Michigan to the Atlanta Hawks
Weren't there
for like a
rumors that
minute?
weren't there rumors that he was the guy Michigan was trying to bring back? Who'd they end up hiring? Michigan. When they got rid of the
Howard?
Juwan Howard.
Juwan,
Yeah.
and they got rid of him. Who'd they end up hiring?
And I gotta say,
You know?
college basketball is so far off my radar the
God,
last
yeah,
5 years.
It's it used to be, oh man, the Final Four. Wow, what'd you do in your bracket? Who gives a damn?
Have you looked at? I'm guessing Pat probably hasn't immersed himself in NBA mock drafts yet, but like if you pull up an NBA mock draft for later this month,
15
unless
Europeans.
you are a diehard, but half of them are from Europe or Australia. But it's insane. Like compare it to maybe 20 years ago, where you knew at least 15 or 20 guys from the tournament. There's juniors coming out. It's pretty crazy.
Dusty May from Florida Atlantic is the Michigan Wolver. Dusty May.
Raise your hand if you've heard
they made a run. They have a Final Four 2 years ago. Okay, let's hire him. He might stink, but let's hire him. I mean, that's how Munson got hired here. They made a little run, got to the Final 8, and okay, let's hire him.
He beat Clem.
Yes, he beat Clem
that the scandal
beat
surfaced.
Clem 10 minutes after George Norman broke the scandal, and they had to throw half his team off. And then they didn't blow him out. They beat Dusty Reichert, basically. That's the only thing they had to beat, right, that game. So, by the way, who went and played in Australia or some damn place for like 15 years?
He
Dusty
did,
Reichert.
yeah.
He had a long international. Was it Australia? I'm not sure, but he had a long international career. Might still be coaching down there someplace. So, well, hey, that is big news.
So well, on the other side of the sporting world, you have the Twins and the Yankees playing again today, Pat.
Oh my!
And the Twins are now, if you go back to 2002, the Twins are now 44-122 against the Yankees in the regular season and playoffs since.
And they also last year they won the season series for the first time. Declan, help me, since
01, right?
01.
They won the season series. This is as mismatched as they've been in this series. It's no contest. They can't hold them, and they can't score. And Rodon's throwing that slop up there, and they look like they're a bunch of idiots waving away. I think they're going to have to do a little refresher on Chris Paddock. I think you're going to have to give him a 2 weeks off and let somebody else make about. They
should have built that into the plan to begin with, right? Hey, we'll get to like June. You can sit for 3 weeks, and then you can ramp it back up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that maybe they got to do that, but I don't have no idea who they would throw in there. I'm going to Saints. I'm going to the Saints doubleheader today, so they start at 5:00. So maybe I'll get to see the Dauber pitch and see if he's ready to move into the rotation.
The Dauber. I mean,
I'm hoping for the Dauber. Come on, bring.
Earn that contract.
Julian.
Yeah. Well, did you see the lineup yesterday? They had
it was good.
Julian Wallner, who's starting to hit a little bit, and
Brooks.
Lee was hitting fourth. Who else
Julian,
was in that? Somebody else was in the top three. That all big leaguers. Austin
Martin.
Austin Martin. Yeah, that's right. That was their top four. They, they might beat the Twins.
They might. And the Daubers got playoff experience in Yankee Stadium.
Send them to New York. Get them there.
The Dauber pitched better than Paddock did, and he did. How far did Dauber go when he made his start?
Oh, like
two and a third.
Yeah.
They were chanting Uber
driver the whole time. It was one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Some of the pitchers that the Twins have had to break out in Yankee Stadium in the playoffs have been the Dunsing started game one year.
It was game three of. Yeah.
But it was the first one in New York. I mean, the Dunce. You dealt with him, right, Phil?
Or did he start he was game 3 in 2010. Did he start game 1 of 09 because of their
I thought he started game 1.
I think so.
Was it Blackburn? Most self-deprecating guy of all time. Yeah. He was hilarious. He was great.
He once pitched, I think it was like, it might have been a shutout in the regular season. It was one of his best regular season performances where he didn't allow a run, 8-9 innings. And after the game, the writers, we all go down, and so nicest guy you'll ever meet from Nebraska.
Oh God, he was great, funny.
But he was always looking around the room, kind of wondering, why am I a major leaguer? And we asked him, man, like the opposing team had a really hard time today. What was working for you? And he goes, honestly, I'm kind of shocked that I just try to throw the ball over because there's a 70% chance that it's going to be an out, and I guess today I just got lucky.
Back in the day, he would have been the perfect spot starter. They had the 4, and then somebody was the spot starter because he didn't. He wasn't one of those guys that you had to stretch out. He just, if you want him to pitch 2 innings of relief, he'd pitch 2 innings of relief. You want him to start, he'd start. And he was a funny guy. I think he had Tommy John in college at Nebraska. And he injured his arm pitching in 27 degrees in Nebraska. They had a game, and it was 27 degrees because he pitched on a cold day once. And I was talking about pitching in the cold, and I didn't realize. I knew he'd had Tommy John, that he did it pitching in. I believe it was 27 degrees. It was under 30, and he went like 7, I guess, down in Lincoln. So anyway. Well, yeah, the trouble is, unless it's the Dauber or somebody like that Festa guy, he's great arm, but he throws way too many pitches and ends up going 4 or 5 innings. And then Louis hasn't been that good lately. So I don't know where they would go. I have no idea where they would go.
They have to go to another team and make a phone call and trade a prospect, maybe.
White Sox are going to actively shop guys soon because they can't win a damn baseball game with the team they have. So
you guys missed it, man. If you weren't watching the Ozzie postgame show last night, you missed it. I was when I saw them. What's the guy's name? The Homer that's doing the. Do we know the
play-by-play guy? Schriffen.
He is unbelievable. It is bad luck. I've never seen a team with such bad luck.
He says to Steve Stone the other day, he says, it's just incredible that we keep, it's a we thing with him. We keep running into these teams at the wrong time. And Steve Stone just laughs like, well, that's part of it.
Steve's going to jump out of the booth at some point. He's not going to take it.
Yesterday they had a 5-1 lead, right? They had a 5-1 lead. And then they blow it. And then they get behind 6-5 and they tie it. And Paul DeYoung hits a home run to tie it. He says, Steve, can you believe all that Paul DeYoung has done for this team this year? He's in a lather of excitement over Paul DeYoung, who leads him with 10 home runs or something.
Did you hear his call of the Tommy Pham thing the other day? Where Tommy Pham, so he slides in, he's out by a mile, and the Brewers catcher turns around and chirps Tommy Pham on the way back to the dugout.
Oh yeah.
And Tommy Pham is like, hold me back, and he's and this dude, this play-by-play guy for the White Sox he goes, I don't care how many losses we have. You don't mess with Tommy Pham.
You don't want that.
You don't want that. You don't want that.
Well, anyway, Anyway, last night he's worked up going into the bottom of the ninth because they tied it on how much Paul D. Young has done for the team. And then second pitch of the bottom of the ninth, Tauschman hits a home run to win the game 7-6. And it's silence for about 4 seconds. So I, of course, immediately go looking for the post game. And Ozzie was hilarious last night. He says, he says, the White Sox fans, they're hurt. He says, I'm hurt. I get paid to be hurt. He says, I don't like the White Sox, but I get paid to be hurt. But then he talks about, just amazing things. And the guy, the host there says, they got to have another come to Jesus meeting. And Ozzie waves his arm and says, Jesus Christ never played baseball. And then he comes back and then he starts talking. He says, I went to a priest in Venezuela and I said, what happens if the pitcher goes like this and then the hitter goes like this? And he said, the priest said, I said, who wins? And the priest said, whoever gives the church the most money. It is hilarious, and the post game, and Frank kind of gets dragged along as Frank doesn't want to be as far out there as Ozzie,
but he's laughing the whole time. Yeah. It's like a comedy routine by Ozzie.
It is. I mean, but they obviously hire this rampant young homer to make a jackass out of himself every game as they lose. But then they let Ozzie get away with the post game. I guess he must be so popular. They weird. Probably got better ratings for the post game than they do the actual game. So
it must. And then there's a big story going around yesterday, and the clips are going out on like awful announcing. So the afternoon drive show on the Score 670 in Chicago, Spiegel and Parkins, they apparently have just been savaging this play-by-play guy. So here's where it started. A few weeks ago, new play-by-play guy is reading a promo about this day in White Sox history back in 1976. Bill Veeck.
No, Bill.
And these guys, and so Spiegel goes on a rant on the show. He's like, dude, there's certain names that you have to pronounce correctly.
Right. Yes.
And Bill Veeck is how you pronounce it. And they just savaged him. And so they were doing a live broadcast like a couple days ago. It was Cubs White Sox. And they were doing a live broadcast before the game from the press box. And during a commercial break, Spiegel says, he goes on the show, he goes, I'm going to walk around and I'm going to go introduce myself to the new play-by-play guy and just, put a face to a name. And he walked in, stuck his hand out and said, hey, I think it's Matt Spiegel.
Yeah.
And new play-by-play guy wasn't having it. He blew him off.
Yeah,
walked out of the room.
He patted him.
What do you think?
He goes, hey, guy.
What do you think Stone's attitude was when he said Veeck? I wonder if Stone is, this must be the last year of his deal, and he's just riding it out.
He's cashing the checks. So the best part though was that Tauchman hits the home run last night.
Okay.
And of course they start playing, go Cubs, go.
Yeah.
Go. And Schifrin goes, there's that song again.
Dude, oh my gosh.
13 in a row, first time since August of 1924.
Wow.
I looked it up. There was some guy, Thurston, Hollis Thurston, lost 4 of the 10, but that was a last place team. And he won 20 games that year. He was 20-14 that year. And a team that won 68 and lost 87 or something. It was in last place team. But they said Hollis, as I said on Twitter, Hollis Thurston, they said he had a real good sweeper. So that was good. So,
pitch count got too high consistently, though. That was my problem back in 24.
Yeah, once he got to about 215 pitches, his
pitch
arm
count
started
down.
1924. God almighty. That's quite a distinction, but it's pretty hilarious to say the least. So
26 games out. They're 26
What's our record here? What's our record here?
Like the Twins overall, 33-28?
No. What's our all-time losing streak? I should know. Was it 15?
Oh.
It was 15 once. I think there was 15 once. I can't remember when it was. So It could have been the 81 team, which was had all those young guys, and they were 16-54 at one time.
Oh no, I think it was the first dome team, right? 82.
18. No, never mind. That's the postseason one that popped up.
Yeah, the postseason one. Yes.
Wow, that's just trolling, Phil.
Well, it was the first thing that popped up
on unintentional Google trolling right there.
When you Google Twins longest losing streak, the first number that pops up is 18.
Okay, that's losing postseason. I thought it was 15 maybe, but I'm not sure. Right. But yeah, that nothing will ever equal 81. 16-54. Although the Whiteys are what? 15 and what are they? 15 and
47.
Yeah, 15 and 47. That's pretty impressive.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. All right, gents.
All right, Pat.
Come on over to the Saints game tonight and get to see half the Twins lineup over there.
That's right.
Okay.
All right, Pat. We'll talk tomorrow. There he is, Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold.